Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie if you're new. Today's video, rather late. Of course, what else is new? I know. Listen, I want to do something for March, for myself. I want to celebrate Women's Month. I want to feel empowered. I want to have some type of reading that makes me feel that way. And although you guys won't be seeing this video in March to celebrate with me, I'll still be posting it. So I thought, what better way than to kickstart the month with some powerful books written by women. I'm really excited about all of these, and I think we're gonna have a really good time in today's video. And I'm going to be reading them throughout the month of March, so you can pretend like we're still in Women's Month with me, you know? So first of all, let's start with the TBR. So the books that I will be reading, I have 3 here. I have the new stunning cover. Are you kidding me? Scream With Me, Horror Films and the Rise of American Feminism from 1968 to 1980 by Eleanor Johnson. This book, since I've bought it, has been displayed in my TV stand because I love it. It is stunning. Oh, I am so excited for this. And honestly, I'm going to be starting this one first. But I also picked up She Made Herself a Monster by Anna Kovatcheva. Is that how you pronounce her last name? Oh my God, she's stunning. And oh my gosh, this coffee, I didn't even realize that. It's so pretty. Honestly, this was a cover buy. I didn't really know what it was about, but I'm like, she made herself a monster? Hell yeah. I just did my 26 and 2026 the other day. I got to read the synopsis for the first time there to know for sure like what I was getting myself into, and I'm ready for it. And then of course, a classic, The Bell Jar. I've never read this by Sylvia Plath. I've always heard mixed things about Sylvia Plath, but I own a copy of this that I was given, and yeah, since I've never read it, I was like, I want to give it a go for this video. Although, I don't really know all the facts or what makes her questionable. If you do, please let me know. Maybe I need to educate myself a little bit more, but I've just heard that this is very like women empowerment and before its time. Also, I wanted to give, that's kind of like the TBR, but I kind of wanted to give a quick shout out to Sadie Hartman, also known as Mother Horror. I've talked about quite a bit lately on my channel. I recently picked up her collections. I have 101 horror books to read before you're murdered, which I need to plan something with. But I also got Feral and Hysterical, which is perfect for this month. It is Mother Horror's ultimate reading guide to dark and disturbing fiction by women. This is a book full of book recommendations, but they're all books written by women. And I just feel like this is the perfect time to like talk about this and actually show like how beautiful. From the illustrations, there's also short stories in here and just so many different categories like horror romantasy, which is so cool, cottage spells and family sagas. There's also 50 states, 50 books by women. So there is a book for each state written by women, which is so cool. That's like such cool like book list or book goals to like check off. I love these and we'll definitely be doing more with them. Women in splatterpunk. Oh my God, I could go on and on and on. Anyways, I wanted to mention it. Definitely check it out. Super cool. If you're always looking for like book recommendations, it's kind of nice to have like a little flip through like catalog to do so. But yeah, like I said, this is going to be my video celebrating women in horror and women in general. We need more. Yes, I'm for women's rights, but I'm also for women's wrongs. We need more of it. And in this day and age and the shit that we're going through, not being able to have the rights on our bodies and people making decisions for us, I am sick, I am gutted every day that I wake up thinking about it, and fuck the patriarchy, am I right? I am going to be starting with Scream With Me by Eleanor Johnson because I am just so stoked to dive into this. a compelling and timely exploration of the horror genre from award-winning scholar Eleanor Johnson that sheds light on the nexus between classic horror films and women's rights, bodily autonomy, and more. I need this right now. Like, I need this. In May 2022, Dr. Eleanor Johnson watched alongside her students at the Supreme Court overturn decades of judicial precedent and reversed Roe v. Wade. At the time, her class was in the middle of studying the 1968 horror classic Rosemary's Baby, which led Johnson to an epiphany. Horror cinema engages directly with the combustible politics of women's rights and the despotic atmosphere in America. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these words. In 10 trenchant essays, Scream With Me reveals with intellect and empathy how classics like Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and The Shining expose and critique issues of reproductive control, domestic violence, and patriarchal oppression. These films, beloved by horror fans, show with blood and terror the sinister nature of gender roles, the isolation of domesticity, and the ever-present threat lurking in the shadows behind our own thresholds. Here, Johnson weaves these iconic films into the fabric of American feminism, revealing that true horror lies not in rare situations and the supernatural, but in the familiar confines of the home. While celebrating seminal horror films, Johnson also encourages us to wrestle intimately with the surface scares to understand the deeper messages at play. Scream With Me is an unflinching and timely recognition of the power of this genre to shape and reflect cultural dialogues about gender and autonomy. Say less. I feel like this is going to heal me. That being said, I also have some plans. I want to embrace my feminine side this month and start working on plans for my bathroom. I have slowly come to terms with the fact that, like, I don't know, does anybody else deal with this? I have always just lived in my house, and I don't know, I feel like it's taken me to my 30s to grasp the concept that I get to decorate and have fun with the whole house, not just my bedroom anymore. I think this is like a childhood trauma that I'm like discovering and uncovering, but I have been having so much fun decorating my space, and James is always like super supportive, which is really nice, but I want to have fun with some pink and color and like feminism and like really go hard in my bathroom, because I think walking into my bathroom to get ready every day, it's gonna make me smile and it's gonna make me feel empowered, and I'm here for it. So I'm gonna be doing some of that in this vlog, as well as I have seen previews for the new The Bride movie by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's supposed to be really, really empowering, and it seems like it. It seems like she is a badass. They're like, the bride of Frankenstein, and she's like, no, the bride. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the movies and watch that this week too. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to take you guys along with me.
Confide in myself. I don't know why I keep trying to figure out the maze inside their heads. They're all so ahead. I can't keep up. Everything's so confusing. What should I do if all the words I utter turn to nothing and to dust? It'd be so surreal if you could find any meaning in the dust. What should I feel?
It's in the afternoon already dark outside. And yes, I am sipping on an Alani, and I shouldn't be. It's so bad. I have been tidying up my room, as you can see, this afternoon. I'm sorry if the air is loud too. I'm just realizing that it's on right now, and the vent is like right behind you guys, and this setup is not the sturdiest. I apologize. I need a smaller tripod for my desk. That would make life so much easier right now. So yeah, I'm still working on my room. Don't mind the mess behind me. I have frames that I was spray painting in the garage, so the paintings for them are over there. Well, one of them I'm gonna keep. And then I have a clear tub that I no longer am using so I can use somewhere else. And then of course my broom. Yeah, that's the vibe today. I'm trying to get things like straightened up. I have a new rug to put down in here, and then I want to like really focus on the bathroom like I had mentioned before to you guys, which I got this in today and I am so excited. Is she not stunning? Have you guys seen those paintings that are like of women like this and just like more vintage paintings, and then somebody has taken spray paint over it and like put like, I don't know, like bitch or slut or something like that? That's the vibes. I had a couple different ideas. I really liked Comme ça, I think is how you pronounce it. It is a Paramore song. It's French for it is what it is. And I thought about putting that on here. But then I had also remembered the saying, the horrors persist, but so do I. And I was like, that's more up my alley. And I want it to be in hot pink. And I think with the green, and then, I don't know. I have to see what frames I'm working with. This is such an odd size that I don't know if I'm going to have one or if I'm just going to like, I don't know, maybe even like tack it up like a poster. I don't know yet. I am terrified to spray paint on this though. I feel like I'm gonna fuck it up. So I did get a small can of hot pink spray paint at the craft store. I'm gonna just take cardboard and just like practice and just see. And if I can't on like spray paint words that small, like obviously you want it to be messy and drippy, but like I want you to be able to read it. And that's what I'm scared about. So I don't know. We will see. But I love this painting so much, and I definitely want to support some small artists, so I will definitely be ordering some more art for my bathroom as well, and I'm going to be making some, but I want to at least start the process in this vlog, so we might not have like a completed bathroom look, but we're going to have some type of vibe going. I have a neon sign downstairs in my like old office space that I kind of want to move up. It's kind of bittersweet because I just have not been in the mood to do my podcast that I had. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe one of these days when I have more time, work has just been really draining lately. And I feel like besides that, I have time to do like my hobbies and the thing I like doing, like YouTube, vlogs and reading and stuff. So I just haven't had time for the podcast, but the neon sign is a part of like my podcast setup. So it will have to be removed, but I kind of just want it in my bathroom. I spent the money on it. I want to be able to see it in my bathroom. But anyways, it's neon, it's pink, and it's the sign from Batman Returns, one of my favorite movies, and it says hello there, but you know, Catwoman takes her whip and smashes two of the letters on it, so now it says hell here. Yeah, I absolutely love it. You can make it say hello there, but you can also make it say hell here, which is what I keep it on, and I love it. But it'll definitely be the vibe for the bathroom of what I'm thinking, so. Anyways, I have a couple different things like that I can bring up and put on the wall that will go with the vibe. But I have read Scream With Me. I actually flew through this. I didn't expect to fly through it. I thought it would be something that I would savor a little bit more, but I just kept consuming it. I will say from the get-go, she talks about Rosemary's Baby. She talks about The Exorcist. She talks about The Omen. She talks about The Shining, and even more than that, but those are the ones that she really touches on. And so I kind of wanted to talk about each one, break it down a little bit for you guys. So chapter 1 is This Is No Dream, This Is Really Happening, Rosemary's Baby. And it just dives into this culture mindset of women who were always told what to do, and kind of showing the underlining of like men telling women what to do, but like it coming across as this like caring way. Like, I'm telling you what to do because it's what I'm supposed to be doing as your husband. And you know, really deep dives into Rosemary's Baby. I will say she spoils every single one of these movies. So if you have not seen these classics, which I honestly recommend, I think that they are all incredibly good. Rosemary's Baby, I love the book. I would recommend reading the book. I would recommend Ira Levin's work over Roman Polanski's. Yikes. He's a big yikes. But I will say the movie is phenomenal. Hate him, but love the movie. We love Mia Farrow, and she does an incredible job, and it's just a very stunning movie. It's hard to talk too much into details about them without spoiling things as I go, but I just feel like with Rosemary's Baby, you know, she's really breaking down kind of like these coincidences that are happening like in real life, but also like it's weird that like it's also being portrayed in movies, and just talks about how like even early horror was already making those steps in the right direction of bring forth feminism and talking about like women's rights and the rights to their bodies, the rights for equality, and to not just be housewives and mothers, and that's all that's expected from them. With Rosemary's Baby, it talks about you know, undermining, but also that feminine rage that's building in her because she knows her body and she knows what's going on is not right, and there's just so much talk there of, I think all of it, everything that's trying to come across here, women's equality, women's rights to their bodies. There's also a lot, you check your triggers, because there is definitely talk of domestic abuse. There's talks of child abuse. There is, not all with Rosemary's Baby, although there is definitely some domestic stuff going on there for sure. With Rosemary's Baby, and some of these other ones, when it talks about women's rights, and it talks about the fact that, this is hard to talk about without spoilery, but let's just say some of the things going on in this would make you realize that not every woman who gets pregnant, I feel like everybody kind of knows the you know, somewhat the basics of Rosemary's Baby, of her getting pregnant and it just being a little bit more sinister. I think it's a good look at a woman who is pregnant with something that is very questionable, where, I don't know, I think at the time it was just a play at women's rights to an abortion and situation, showing something that you're growing inside you can, and this way, using horror to make it as more sinister. Again, I didn't write this book. She definitely words things a lot better. It is definitely worth the read. It's so good and just empowering, and all of the connections, all of the dots and the breaking down of each one of these movies is insane. I just loved every bit of it. We jump into There's a Demon in My House, domestic violence in The Exorcist, and it really does. It not only talks about the portrayal of violence, and not only in the book, in the movie, but really good metaphors here of another one of using horror to show, you know, a woman fighting for her daughter and people kind of just pushing her away, but also all of the hidden stuff throughout too of domestic situations going on here that she really paints a picture with. But also this is where we first start talking about, for one, in Rosemary's Baby with Roman Polanski, you know, there is a very graphic scene in that of assault and, you know, worse. And the real Roman Polanski was really put away for doing that. So it's kind of like, that was like probably a, you know, like she said, a quote unquote fantasy of him watching that, and then to go and do that act himself, so vile, and just shows that not only like, I don't know, I feel like there was a really even balance of this book of talking about how, yes, the best creations of horror are good. There's really good metaphors that play into stuff. I feel like there is stuff that you can take away from it about how many old horror movies always had these final girls that were, you know, breaking the norms of like what a woman can actually handle. Like, she's too weak for that, she's a girl, you know, that mindset. So she did really good navigating that as to saying that these movies are really good and they really have good metaphors for women. But at the same time, not every amazing creation is made by a good person. Like, evil people make things like this too, and this focuses so much on also how the actors were treated and women's rights. Although we are literally putting out a movie about women's rights and like all of these like hidden Easter egg metaphors about her being shut down. She's worried, she's trying to get help, and she's being shut down over and over and over again. And yet he's that type of person that's going to go out and do that in real life, you know? And then speaking of like The Exorcist, moments that, you know, this little girl, Blair, who played Reagan, being thrown around in the room, and her even telling them like, you're throwing me around too hard, like I'm gonna get hurt, and then being like, oh yeah, we'll take it easy on you, and then whispering, no, do it harder, and literally physically hurting her. It goes to show that we have a movie where there's feminism at the forefront of having a mother fighting for her daughter and everything that this daughter is doing, portraying, you know, these vulgar things and putting a little girl explicitly out there like that. And again, using these different metaphors to show these actions in movies that is, you know, at somewhat great and entertaining, but at the same time, behind the cameras, it's so sad that like women had to just keep using their voice, and even when they use their voice, even as a small girl like this, she's not being listened to. And it just shows that even behind the scenes, there's these domestic things going on, and it was just okay over and over and over again. And it took a while for there to be any act that would start changing the way that these people were treated. And she also talks about how like at the time, like people didn't talk about domestic cases. It goes into the Stepford Wives and Equal Rights Amendment, and the Stepford Wives being a story about them moving to a neighborhood where, another amazing Ira Loving, by the way. The book is way better than the movie, but the movie is still really good. Moving to the neighborhood and just seeing that all of these women are copy-paste of like what these men want, and there's something more going on behind there. It's a story, it's a horror story about men having complete control over their women, and it was just so before its time. And at the time, a lot of reviews were just kind of laughing about it and acting like it just was a shoddy movie about, you know, just comedy, when it really wasn't. It's horror. It's showing the reality, though, that like women deserve equal rights, and it was a good step in a direction of showing that women shouldn't be controlled by men. They should be their own people, and we have really confident women, you know, our main character standing up for herself and being like, no, this is not okay. Like, I don't want that type of life. I don't want to just be a housewife and a mom. I want a career, and I want to do the things that I like. I don't want to just be this cookie cutter, copy paste woman that all these, you know, men like. And even showing, so sorry, my battery died. But yeah, showing these women who were trying to fight against it and ultimately being told what to do, what to say, what to be like by their husbands. And it's just, it's sad in a way. It's horror. It's, you know, again, way before its time. And it also talks about the patriarchy and The Omen. How, again, I'm going to try to be super mild with this so it's not as spoiling any of these, but we have another man who is not agreeing to women's rights and her decision on what she wants to do with her body. And all of these were just, I feel like, and this author, you know, she paints a perfect picture about them being stepping stones to equal rights and Roe versus Wade and all of that. Like, it's just the coincidences of all of these coming out around a time when women were fighting for that, fighting to be able to be in the workplace, fighting for equal pay and rights, and all of the stuff that goes behind that like I didn't really know all of the details. It was really nice being able to have that research and stuff in this laid out for me to read, while also being entertaining, you know, reading about some of my favorite classic horror movies. There's also reproductive violence in outer space, Alien, kind of, reversing the roles there, but showing the reality of an unwanted pregnancy, and how brutal and stuff it is. And I also will say chapter 6 is in The Shining, only just fiction, but it's another one just about domestic abuse and the way that this woman is treated by her husband, and there's child abuse, and we have a very messed up, main male character who, he's in the past an alcoholic. We know that he's not a great father or husband, and he's trying to be better, but we have this sinister, plot with them going to work at this overlook hotel for the entire winter with no way to get out. Like, that's a horror setup for this poor woman who is already so scared about it because she's already showing signs that, like, a past trauma, All of these movies really just have painted the picture for, again, reproductive rights, equal rights, but also highlighting just like how women were treated for so long, and how for a while it was just like, that's okay. There's even talk like further, and I'm so sorry, like there's some triggering talk here of grape. I will just use that word. And how, like, even back then, there was not even rights for women to press charges against their husbands because they were legally married. Therefore, it couldn't be classified as grape. Wild. There was so much that women were fighting for in this time, and just horror kept throwing it out there. And I feel like, in a way, for me personally, I've always, like, healed with horror. I just did a vlog talking about the Scream franchise, which is my favorite, and talking about my love for horror. And in it, I read this anthology called Why I Love Horror, and it's a nonfiction written by a bunch of different authors in horror now, and their past, their childhoods, or reasons why they fell in love with horror, why they write horror. And it's just taking me back to that because of that concept of, like, giving reasons for why horror exists. And I feel like, in a way, it's kind of like healing. Like, I feel like watching Rosemary's Baby or Alien or The Omen, and just knowing that, women have those rights, was kind of more of like a healing thing. But now that those rights are taken away from us again, and we're backstepping once again, these fears and these horrors, they persist again. They are here again. And it's just devastating. But this is the real life horror of it. And we have all of this trad wife content coming out that is just even making it even more fearful, because it's like everybody's falling back into, or trying to push this falling back into place, that is just terrifying. It's like Stepford Wives. It's then what happens next? Then we have men controlling everything. We have them becoming more violent. So we are going to have more domestic cases. She talks about how in COVID, the domestic cases spiked because people were so closed in together in quarantine. And it's just such a scary, this is a heavy book, because it's sad that in 2026, it feels like we're back in the 60s and 70s, and we're fighting for all of this again as women. And how do you celebrate Women's Month when this is what we're thrown? Like, garbage in the White House, that's for sure. The last few chapters is talking about newer movies. She talked about Apartment 7A, which is a prequel to Rosemary's Baby. It is incredible. I love that movie, which once again talks about women's rights and equality and all of that as a woman struggling to get a job, and equal pay, and also just the same kind of ordeal as Rosemary's Baby. And I actually love, her name is Terry in the movie. I love Terry's outro I will call it, in the movie more than Rosemary. I feel like it was just so powerful when that song Be My Baby comes on. Chef's kiss. I love that movie. If you know, you know. She talks about creep and the unsettling feeling of somebody manipulating you for just, you know, mind controlling, playing games with you and toying with you for just a sinister outcome. She talks about the newer Omen. And again, all of these movies she spoils, they're all completely spoiled. So you want to make sure you watch them before. I actually just revisited The Omen. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I only seen bits and pieces at a grandparent's house. It was kind of fun revisiting that one. Me and James enjoyed it. And the other ones I have definitely seen a lot. There's a couple that I need to, you know, refresh my memory on, but yeah, she just once again talked about how current day and age, what we're going through with Roe versus Wade being overturned, you know, this outpouring of trad wife content being pushed on us and everything else, that it's just very scary times. But I definitely recommend this book. I could sit here and talk for ages about it. It was so good. 5 stars. And I will cherish this book. I honestly didn't expect the outcome that I got with it. It was so meaningful and touching, especially during this month. I don't know, I just thought it was gonna be a fun time revisiting these movies, but it was just so meaningful, and everything that she had to back it up and all of the research and timelines of all the coincidences and everything was so cool. And there was parts of the movies that she would point out and be like, that is clearly a sign of this or this. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, when you think about that, that is a metaphor for that. And even just showing, like, you know, the women in real life who played these characters and what they went through, you know, Blair from The Exorcist, and even Shelley Duvall. She was mentally, like, tortured filming The Shining. And then people roasted her performance, telling her that she just seemed exhausted. And she was an icon, a legend. She did phenomenal. I love The Shining, and it's honestly was sad reading about, like, how intense it was and how much they, like, there's old clips of it, of them mentally torturing her to where she's on the floor bawling her eyes out to get her prepared for her next, like, takes. Insane what people would do to women and get away with. Anyways, moving along, I am starting She Made Herself a Monster. I am excited for this one. I think it's going to be a little bit change of pace. I was starting it, reading it, the prologue, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't think I've read you guys the synopsis. In 19th century Bulgaria, a self-proclaimed vampire slayer and a traveling con artist joins forces with a teenage girl to create a monster deadly enough to vanquish their own demons. I am so excited to dive into this and see what it's all about. It is one of my 26 in 2026, so that's really exciting. I need to get my spread going and in my journal. I'm going to try to practice with the spray paint on this, and hopefully we can get some progress and I can show you guys some progress in my bathroom before this video is over. But yeah, I definitely just wanted to check in and wrap up my thoughts on this one because it was so good. If you love nonfiction and, like, reading about horror and feminism and just wanting to feel like, I don't know, I can say there's moments where it does feel empowering to see these women come through this and, you know, knowing that, like, even back then horror was really pushing for women, but at the same time, in this day and age, it is rather sad that we are, you know, falling back to, like, what these women fought so hard for back then. And yeah, hang in there, ladies. We got this. We're gonna keep fighting and hope for better days ahead.
Everything's so confusing. What should I do for the words I
guys. Light turned green as soon as I hit record. I was at a stoplight for so long that I was like, I'm just going to film. I promise I'm being safe. If you guys fall, you guys fall, and it is what it is. I'm kind of taking like a back road anyways. I am kind of just taking a side road to my library to pick up a couple holds. I'm not having the greatest day, so I didn't plan on like sitting down and filming, and I'm so sorry. This road, it's a back road, it's bumpy. It's not even a back road, it's like just like a random side road that like doesn't really have any traffic at this time. Now we get into a little bit of traffic. But yeah, I really didn't feel like filming today, so I was like, I'm gonna go pick up my library holds and take you guys with me and talk about this book. She Made Herself a Monster. I'm still currently reading it. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of been not to say it's a slow burn, because it's a pretty like small book. Just in the writing style and like what's going on, it reads very literary fiction, but definitely like weird girl. I don't know. I don't really know if I would classify it really as even like weird girl as much as it is just literary fiction with like, oh, there you guys go. I'm actually just gonna pull over here really quick. Yeah, literary fiction with just like a hint of horror. That's what this book is. It's really pretty, like writing wise, and I don't really know how much I talked about earlier about this, but this is a village in Kovatcheva, I think is how they pronounced it. It's inspired by Slavic folklore. It says, we make monsters in order to destroy them. For thousands of years, we've named witches and burned them, suspected demons and exorcised them. When crops die and children fall ill, who better to blame than a monster? Yana rides with one desolate town to the next, staging grisly displays while the villagers sleep, animal corpses in the public square, eggs filled with blood in the chicken coop. She tells the stricken villagers stories of vampires that stalk the night. Then she eliminates the threat and sows seeds of hope in her wake. The village of Kovatcheva is plagued by exceptional illness and misfortune, its children rarely surviving infancy. There Yana meets Anka, a headstrong orphan the villagers blame for their curse. As Anka approaches womanhood, the village captain is grooming her for marriage against her will. Anka is powerless against him, that is, until Yana arrives. Together, the orphan and the vampire slayer hatch a plan to conjure a monster so vile it might provide cover for Anka to escape. But their plan quickly takes on a horrifying life of its own. This definitely has a horror elements, but I don't know if you could really classify as horror. And I'm pretty sure when we got this at Barnes, it wasn't even in the horror section. I had to look elsewhere for it. And it kind of makes sense, but this kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Blair Witch Trials. This girl just like going around and being a menace and like calling people, out on like, I guess it's not like that in a sense of like calling them witches, but like going and putting blood in their chicken eggs just to scare them and think that they're cursed, and just doing all kinds of things like that it's been very entertaining. But the sad part about this is that Anka is Anka, she is pretty much, we come to find out that she's lost both of her parents, and so the captain of this village is raising her. He has taken her on as his own daughter and raised her, calls her his little bird, and you're thinking, oh, that's so sweet. And now that she's coming of age, and when I say coming of age, I mean she's getting her period. She is a young gal, and again, like this is way back when, but sick. He's grooming her. Like, he is in love with this girl, yet he is affectionate towards her like a father, but he knows that like once she starts bleeding, she can be his bride. Sick. So there is a lot of very sad, but, you know, conversations going on here to be had. And I feel like the writer's going about it in a good way. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of feminine rage. She's already like trying to cover things up and like trying to get out of it, and we're already getting those like beginning steps of like saving myself. So I think it's going to be like a good for her, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, just want to do a little check-in. I did go see Bride yesterday. The Bride. I was so proud of myself, you guys. I went by myself and it was a really good time. The theater was empty besides two ladies that sat a couple rows in front of me, and they were just a joy to watch. Between them and the movie, I had such a good time. They laughed, they cheered. At the end, they clapped. And then when I was walking to my car, they were like, "Did you like it? It was so good, wasn't it?" Like, they were so sweet. I was like, I need to befriend old people so I can like have people to watch movies with and relate with. And no, to be fair, all of my friends were either working or busy, so it just didn't, you know, align. But I've told myself recently, getting on the AMC A list, I want to see a movie at least once a week, so I'm going to try to do that for myself. And it was fun, even being by myself. With that being said, the movie was good. I think I would give it like 4 stars. It was a lot more feminine, like feminism and female rage than I expected. I kind of talked earlier about how, you know, the whole preview is like the Bride of Frankenstein. She's like, no, the bride. You know, it's like she is standing up for herself. This isn't just a Frankenstein story. There is a touch of romance, a little Bonnie and Clyde action, but besides that, it is really her story. And like, there's so many metaphors with this, that this is the perfect video and concept for it, because there's so many metaphors on feminism and finding yourself. And this takes place like back in, I think it's the 30s and the 1930s. And so it's like 1930s Chicago, and like she's just a badass. She's like, you created me into like this monster. Now I have to claim myself. I have to figure out, because she can't remember who she is. And she's like, I have to reclaim myself and be who I want to be. And it's just such a powerful movement, and it ends up becoming even more of a powerful movement when it becomes like an actual full-on like women's rights and equality and protest. And I don't know, there was a lot more of that in it than what the previews led on. And I wish the previews led on to that more, because I feel like it probably would have done somewhat better. And it worked a lot more for me because of that. I think I would have rated it less if not. I really like how she tied all of that in, and the actors really did a phenomenal job. I don't think it really holds a light to the Frankenstein that we got last year, but in its own way, it was a really good movie. I don't necessarily, like, I understand why it's the Bride of Frankenstein because of bringing her back to life, and I feel like it really plays into everything with finding yourself, figuring out who you are, and being, you know, authentic and just creating your own self. And those aspects are really cool, of like a play on Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. But this could have like been a movie that wasn't even that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't even have to be the Bride of Frankenstein, you know? Anyways, I really liked it. If you missed it in theaters, you should definitely check it out when it becomes available to rent, buy, or stream somewhere, I'm sure. It was good. There were some really cool moments. It was also beautifully done. Like the scenes, the outfits, the settings, the settings were gorgeous. And I loved the gritty and kind of like grunginess to it too. It just kind of added a little extra oomph to it. Anyways, I wanted to check in. I'm hoping I feel somewhat better tomorrow. I need to just, I think, sleep off this mood. But I definitely want to create the bride look, and I definitely want to do that for this video. So I'm hoping I can tease my hair up and get it looking somewhat wild for that tomorrow and wrap up on this book.
Hey, you got some time? Wanna try that thing you like?
Oh, come on, boy, don't look surprised, 'cause I feel you when you're feeling me too. Thought it'd be a fling like in the movies, but when I see you coming, kinda moves me.
And now I can't help thinking how we're doing, 'cause you might be my first one.
So let's play this game and
There's just gonna be a shadow from the camera. I've lost daylight. I spent a while on this look and I got all of the shots, I think, with daylight, but I have lost it for my check-in because I did finish She Made Herself a Monster. I also feel so much better today, and this book definitely helped. The ending, so good. I feel like I talked about this enough yesterday, but I will say it was good. I enjoyed it. It was kind of subtle horror, subtle female rage. Everything was very subtle, but it was beautifully done, and I really love the storytelling. I feel like it would have lost me more if it was longer of a book. She's a shorty, but a cute one. I'm landing at a 4-star. And as you guys can see, I did my The Bride look today, and this is gonna be so much fun to shower off. Some of them you don't even see in the photos. It is what it is, but I had fun with it, and it is inspiring me to create more again and do more looks based off the movies that I'm going and watching, and I had a lot of fun. And I feel like the message behind this, if you've seen The Bride, the feminism and taking a stance and that whole side of the movie, I really, really like. It's like a protest statement, if you will. Figure out when I'm gonna post them. I'm so behind on posting that, like, I have no idea, but I'm excited to have this look checked off my list. I love it. And I have a bathroom that I really need to start tackling. So the next couple of days I'm gonna be tackling it and taking you guys along.
Mostly when I say, first, it's my turn.
Never have I ever wanted more than touch.
Never have I ever dreamed of more than fun.
Never have I ever thought you'd be the one. Guess I'll fall in love.
Put a finger down. Look at that, I'm out.
Never have I ever thought I'd have someone. Guess I'll fall in love.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting on. You better lose.
It's a game we play, but don't play with me. This ain't out of lust. You should be with me.
So let's
I am back. I have finished The Bell Jar. Whew. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into with this one. I knew that everybody really raves about this one being a strong, like, female, I don't know if rage is the right word here, but just like a strong feminism book. And there is definitely feminism in this, and I feel like there's a lot to take away from this. It's a heavy one, heavier than I expected going into this, and I was gonna say funny enough, but it's really not funny. We have been rewatching a bunch of the American Horror Story, and some of the seasons coming up we've never even seen. So yeah, we've been trying to, like, make our way through it. The goal is to make our way through it before the 13th season. Anyways, we currently are watching season 2, and that's The Asylum. And there was so many similarities here, it was scary. So if you've seen that, it's about a woman named Esther who is having, like, a mental breakdown. She is currently having a mentee B, and it's in a time where, like, nobody's understanding that and getting that. And so their solution for her is to lock her up and to seek medical help in, like, the worst possible way. Again, think American Horror Story Asylum. A lot of this is really just mundane, like her life and stuff leading up to it, and then just like her slowly, like some of us do, feeling like we're deteriorating, like our mental health is just really taking us out. And sometimes it's hard for us to even grasp what is going on in the moment, and we just feel hopeless. And it's just so sad to see it and to not see the help that like this character deserves, and her being looked down upon also because she is a woman and she shouldn't be acting this way. And yeah, there's a lot of heavy topics with this one. Definitely check your triggers if you are going to pick this up. I definitely also want to do more research on Sylvia Plath. I've been seeing some very questionable things. But you know what? It's a classic that I'm glad I finally got to, because it's just been sitting on my shelf, and I do think that this was the perfect video for it. I am landing at a 4-star with it. I think that it does offer a lot to the feminism movement, and especially being, I feel like, before its time on, you know, really calling out and speaking up for that voice at that time. So I do think that that was really cool. Besides that, you guys, the bathroom, it is not done. I have been sitting with it for a little while, and I'm just having such a hard time because I'm not happy with how it looks right now, because it's not finished, and like my brain like wants it a certain way, and since it's not, it's going to drive me insane until we get there. But I'm gonna show you guys as it is right now. I did get the painting done. It's growing on me. I think it's gonna take some time. Spray painting the words just did not turn out, unfortunately. I had to take a brush to it, and yeah. Man, he's so playful right now. I guess, as you can see, his toys and stuff. And yes, I still have paintings and stuff over there because I need to get that painting up in my bathroom. It's one thing after another around here. But anyways, I got the neon sign up, I got the disco ball mirror up, and I got the painting up. And yeah, I think it's just gonna take some time to grow on me. I just messed up in some places and just kind of had to keep adding to it. So it's a little all over the place. I think with just more just random, crazy, if you will, things surrounding it, I think it'll pull it together a little bit more. It needs more fillers. I want like a crammed clutter, just random wild wall, I guess. I think I'm gonna hang some plants too, and maybe attach like these like little disco balls to them. I think that could be really fun. But anyways, I wanted to wrap up this video. I think that was everything. I had so much fun reading some women in horror, reading about feminism and horror and nonfiction, fiction. I had a lot of fun with this video. Definitely want to pick up more, so if you have any recs, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
Never have I